Alright everybody, I'm filming at the house again, just in the backyard. Got what I felt like was a really neat idea. I'm going to try this out. At the end of this video, I'll put some pictures in to show you how that I set the whole thing up. So the video header should give you an idea of what's going on here, but let me get this started. Starting with fat wood again. Just going to let it get going here, I think. And I put this box over here of fat wood because, just so everybody knows, my local grocery store is carrying that for $5. That's a pretty large box. So if I have a fire I want to start, or make it simple on myself to start a fire, I just use it. So I've got some paper stuck in there. I'm trying to get some charcoal lit here. So let's see if this paper catches on fire, gets the whole thing going. Alright guys, so you can see the paper's burning now. I tried the fat wood a couple of times, and then I ended up having to cheat and put just a little bit of lighter fluid inside to get the paper going, and you can see the paper burning really well now. Hopefully I didn't put too much paper inside there. But the whole point is I've got 2 layers of charcoal going in here, and you'll see pictures at the end of the video showing exactly how I set this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this charcoal get going, let this whole thing calm down, and then I'll restart the video when I'm ready to throw the steak on. I need to let the charcoal on top get going there. And you could use wood on top of this. I just chose to use charcoal for the simplicity of making this video. I think you probably would have to use a little bit of charcoal on the bottom, maybe 4 pieces, and that is to cook the baked potato. And then on the top, you could just put wood in. It's no big deal to feed it. You're just going to have a difficult time feeding wood in the bottom of the stove the way I got it all sealed up. So you have to use at least 4 pieces of charcoal. You can hear it sizzle just a little bit. I got my neighbor over there weed eating, so hopefully you can hear that sizzle just a little bit. That's the butter inside the aluminum foil with the potato. So I took just a couple decent-sized slices to try to help keep from scorching that potato in there. And let's see how this all turns out. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video for now, and I'll start it back up here in just a little while when it's time to put the steak on. Alright, so I've given the potato about a 15-minute head start. Just going to lay that steak on there. This extended grill makes it really good to... I think you could probably easily cook 2 regular-sized hamburgers on there and just kind of rotate them around from these outside pieces, to the inside. So obviously you saw this was, when I put it together, this was all brand new. So this is the first time I've tried it. I just got this extra kit in, and I had this idea from watching other people's videos, but it's something I hadn't seen anyone else do. So I thought it was, I hope that it's something completely different and new. So doing stuff like this here, I think in my last video I said that the Wildwood gas stove was, probably, or maybe as good as the folding Firebox stove, but I'm convinced this is definitely the better of the 2 stoves. It's much more versatile. There are so many different things that you can do with this that I've seen other people, the ideas that they came up with also. If you just, watch some videos on YouTube, man, you can really come up with some good ideas of your own by, just watching stuff that other people do. Implementing your own recipes. Okay, and you can see some flames coming up here. What I've done is just put a few small sticks on top to accelerate the steak just a little bit there. And the reason that I did that was giving the potato an additional 15 minutes. The charcoal was just a little bit weak there. Not terribly bad, but just a little bit. What I've thrown in there is a little bit of oak, just some small branches, real small pieces, maybe 4 inches long. I think I put 4 of those in there. And it's really accelerating this. I guess the two main fears that I have currently are, 1, I burn the potato, and 2, I undercook the potato. So maybe not necessarily fears, but just 2 things that I don't want to take place. Okay, so I'm almost finished here. I think I'm almost finished. The steak is almost finished. Let's hope the potatoes cooked all the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the steak off here. I'm just going to let it stand for a minute off to the side, and then I'm going to work on trying to get that baked potato out of the middle there. It shouldn't be too difficult. You've got these small slots right here that with the charcoal I should be able to slide my stick in and pick that up and sit off to the side, and that should give me access to the baked potato. I guess my only real issue is I didn't pay close enough attention when I put it together to find out exactly which side the slot was on. So I'm going to have to figure that out real quick while this is, you can see this is still real good and juicy. So I'm going to take this off and put it on a plate here. And just let it stand for a minute. Cover it up. And then I'm going to take this bottom stick out right here, which is going to let the potato fall, but that's just going to be for a few minutes. So we just pry this up and set this all to the side. And ideally, I'd like to let that, actually, I don't really know. I'm going to have to find that slot. Steve conveniently put it, there it is, conveniently put a slot in there for us to use to get this out. There we go. So let's just set that to the side and pull these steaks out. I'm going to grab this baked potato out of here. Wrap that and put it on the plate here in just a second, but I'm going to go ahead and put this back in because I would like to cook the rest of the stuff off of the grill there. It's hot at that end. Put this right back in place. Just let that continue to cook that top of that off. This is no longer needs to be in there. So again, I'll show you the pictures at the end. I'm going to try to open this up. Camera here, it's not too hot to get to. And I'll move it, I'll transport it to the plate. So I double wrap this foil. It's a heavy duty aluminum. Then you can see down there, put some butter inside. So I guess the key to this really is cut it open. Let's see. Oh gosh, it's done. Golly. Okay, I think it's finished. I can't even get my hands on it here. It could probably use. Yeah, it's a little firm, but it's definitely cooked all the way. It could use maybe 5 more minutes. So I think total cooking time for that potato is pretty large, about 30 minutes inside the stove there. And to be honest with you, I really contemplated buying the small red potatoes and just putting, 4 or 6 and having the flatter package. But with the original idea, I wanted to try this right here. So, folding firebox stove, guys. This thing is just a phenomenal little stove and very versatile. If you had 2 of them, you could easily just at one time cook a meal for you and another person. By itself, it can still cook plenty of food for several people, just depending on what you're cooking and how you're doing it. But something like this, you really would ideally need a couple of stoves. Just take that butter, pour it right inside there. Alright guys, I appreciate you watching. Appreciate your views, support, and see if I can come up with some other cooking ideas for this thing. I'm really enjoying using it. Thanks for watching. Bye.